everyone! Excited Utterance here. My name's Hella, and I might be just a tad late, but not really. I'm not even late enough for you to say that the stream might be cancelled. Mavka. So, see, you couldn't even get in here and say that. Too bad. Hey, Ange, you're here. That's nice of you. That's nice of you to be here. Hello, Duck and Felonies. How are you? And Chinny is here. Chinny was here early. Jello. Hello, Jello. And we have Bifrons. Hello, Bifrons. Hey. CT Girl is here. And look, Steve's here. Angie's the queen, isn't she? Yep, she is. Guys, guess what we're going to do today? We're going to laugh at Vinnie Pollitan. Because why not? Because the dude doesn't know where he stands. Seriously. My goodness. Look, I know he's done one or two good things in his time, but most of the time he's a bootlicker. All right? Most of the time he's a bootlicker. And he's gone and done something fucking stupid. Goddamn stupid. Right? Ugh. Dear me. You can't gamble all in here, Mapcom. I don't have that here. Right? It's not happening. She is a great queen. All right, so let me start with this. I don't think I really need to explain to Americans who Scott Peterson is because he's very well known, right? So Scott Peterson, he was convicted of killing his wife Lacey Peterson and unborn child Connor in 2004. In California, so San Francisco Bay, Modesto, California, and it was one of those trials, one of those media spectacles that got Nancy Grace's knickers in a twist, got Vinnie Pollitan all famous. It was very much a media spectacle. It was one of those ones where everyone was so sure he was guilty because he's a narcissist. Narcissist. Right? Big narcissist. Yeah? Not that much concrete evidence against this man, but it was kind of like, well, he's a big nasty cheater and a big fat pants on fire liar. And everyone hated him so much. He must be guilty, right? And then what happened was he was convicted, obviously, and he was convicted. The trial was not televised, by the way, so no one really got to see what really happened. It was all just reported in the media, and of course, everyone heard the prosecution side more than the defense side. And of course, everyone was so happy, and he got the death penalty, and people were dancing in the streets. They were so happy. Yeah. So he was on death row for a really long time. And then I think it was 2000, may have been, 2020, or it may have been 2021. He managed to get his death penalty reduced to life without parole. Because it was found that a juror lied at voir dire. Now, this juror, who's known as Strawberry Shortcake, because she has this strange pink-colored hair, apparently she lied and said that she had never had any background of domestic abuse or domestic assault. And that was one of the voir dire questions. Was very important, and she said that she hadn't, and she had, and that meant that she would have not been on the jury. So he got his sentence reduced, and of course, lots of people were very angry about that because he should have been on death row, and he shouldn't have any leniency, and he's a narcissist and a killer. And anyway, the LA Innocence Project just recently, in the last year or so, got hold of his case, thanks very much to his sister-in-law, I think, yeah. And she's very much his champion for his innocence. She's very sure he's innocent. She's been very much pulling together evidence over the last few years to try and exonerate him. And she's got a bunch of reasons for this. She believes that there was a neighbor across the street who was burgled, and they're called the Medinas. The Medina household was burgled supposedly that day, the day that Lacey went missing. And the storyline goes that the burglars were seen abducting a woman who was very heavily pregnant, a brunette, very heavily pregnant, seen getting into an argument with her and putting her into a van. And a van was found burnt out nearby. Found this van, and the DNA testing that was done on blood on a mattress in the van was done with old technology. And the LA Innocence Project tried to get the DNA on that, or the blood on that mattress retested. But the judge in the appellate court, or the appeals court, she actually said no to that. So I'm not really sure why. If everyone's so sure he's guilty, why not just retest it? I don't really get that. So there is a petition before the court right now for a new trial, but I don't like his chances. People are very upset that he's trying to get a new trial. I don't know if he did it or not. All I know is that there seems to be a fair bit of contradictory evidence that didn't come in at trial. There's apparently a lot of witnesses, or some witnesses, who saw a heavily pregnant brunette woman walking her dog that morning after he supposedly went to the marina. Because he very famously went out on a boat that day, and her body and the little boy's body, well, the fetus's body, was found washed up on the shore, San Francisco Bay. So anyway, it's a really emotional one. People get really angry about this one. If you even bring up for a second that he might not be guilty, people get very mad. I know I did a series on this about a year ago. People got very mad. Let's bring Dali in and also say hello to some people because I'm chatting too much. Hey, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Oh yeah, they found her body. So her body washed up on the shores, San Francisco Bay. It was about 3 months later, Chinny. So, and this is part of the case against him, right? So he went fishing on Christmas Eve.
Very fishy.
Right? Went fishing. Guilty. Right? Went fishing. And apparently no one even knew he had a boat. Right? And who goes fishing on Christmas Eve in the cold?
Well, I mean, I imagine there's a lot of guys that haven't told their wife they have a boat.
Yeah.
Easier
Right?
to
So
ask permission than forgiveness.
and also he's a big fat liar, right? He had a mistress, that's Amber Fry.
Yeah.
She testified against him.
Women.
And
Can't trust
yeah.
them.
Yeah. So he went fishing, right? And no one knew about this boat or that. And also, why would you go fishing? And her body was found washed up on the shore near where apparently he went fishing. But here's the kicker, right? Here's the deal. The media went out and told everybody about the fact that he went fishing out there months before her body washed up on the shore. So, if she had been abducted by those burglars, guess where would have been the best place to go dump the body? Out there, right? Because how else? What's like the best
Yeah.
place to dump the body? Exactly where the prime suspect was.
Mm.
Like that, it doesn't, like, you don't have to be a genius to put the body there, right? So that kind of that doesn't work. That logic doesn't work. So the only other thing, well, I mean, there might be a couple of other things, but the biggest other thing was that there was a hair of hers found on the boat, And if she didn't know about the boat, how did a hair of hers end up on the boat? But he lived with her.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, let's say hi to some people. Let's say hi. So, no Seraph coin? I am not starting that game here. No. Dear. Are we talking about Vinny? He's become so wishy-washy. He's always been wishy-washy, CT girl. Actually, no. Uh, I'll walk back on that. He's always been a complete state simp. He's been a prosecutor, right? And he's been a complete bootlicker forever. And he only decided to push back a little bit on the Richard Allen case for a bit. And I don't even know why. I think he's probably saw a little bit of a few views in that for a minute. I'm sorry to be so
Cynical?
cynical about it, but
Oh, why would we be cynical?
oh, why would we be cynical? But look at the rest of Court TV. Like, do you see anybody else on Court TV that's pushing the free Richard Allen
Hmm.
narrative? In fact, he's not even pushing it. He's pushing the transparency in the courtroom narrative, which sounds like sour grapes because they didn't get views because they didn't get to stream the trial,
True.
right? So I'd love to think he cares, but I don't really.
I doubt it.
I don't trust Vinnie Pollitan, sorry. um hey Jessica, how's it going? Hey, I assume BP's autonomy is minimal in that position. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't necessarily think he's a bad guy. I just think he's got a job and he works for bosses. That's all. Um oh yeah, I remember that juror. Yeah, strawberry shortcake. Yeah. Grace Bates is here. Hey. It was fishy. Yes, it was
Yes.
very fishy. It was very fishy. Who else we got? Brad is here. Brad is here. Us? Cynical? Never. Never. Trust no cop. No. No, indeed. Who's Julie? Oh, Julie. Ah, yes, Julie. Julie. Okay, so what we're talking about today, that or Julie Grant. Julie Grant had something to say about this incident, and we're getting to it. So apparently, well, definitely, Scott Peterson got beaten up in jail or prison, right? And
You're kidding.
yeah, he did. And so people are so happy he got beaten up in prison. He got beaten up playing pickleball. I don't know what pickleball is. What's
It,
pickleball? Someone help me.
it's a game you play with pickles.
Okay.
I'm kidding. I have no idea.
Yeah. Oh, you don't know either? Oh, good. I
I've
thought it was
heard of
just
it.
me
I
being a
just
foreigner.
no. It's a game you play on a court. It's kind of like lame tennis, I think.
Okay. It's scuffed tennis. Okay. Yeah, because Julie Grant actually did a little piece about this as well. And she was like, I'm not mad about the fact he got a little beaten up. Good. What makes my blood boil is he was playing pickleball.
Okay, let's just think about the alternative. So we keep them pent up all the time with nothing to do, no outlets, no exercise, or even mild exercise. Okay, but give them no relaxation. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to go wild.
See, you just, yeah, no,
Hey,
David.
Daddy.
Yeah, he can call you daddy. But he's not human. He's not
He's a
human.
narcissist.
Oh, her issue with pickleball is that this disgusting baby murderer gets to play pickleball. That's her issue. Anyways, let's watch what Vinny does. Let's watch what Vinny does. Because this is. I can't get over this. He is such
No.
a hypocrite. He is such a hypocrite. I cannot get over this. So, all right. Oh, also, Gary Busey's in court.
Aw, Hey, B-Dog.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But first, Scott Peterson murdered his wife Lacey and their unborn child, Connor, on Christmas Eve because he was having an affair with a woman named Amber Fry, who he was planning a future with. Lacey was originally reported as a missing person until her body washed up on the shore of San Francisco Bay, 2.5 hours from their home in Modesto. But it was also the exact place Scott Peterson said he went fishing. Peterson's own alibi put him at the crime scene. Then he had a trial and a verdict that was celebrated by the public outside the courthouse. He was convicted and sentenced to death. That was back in 2004. Then in 2021, Peterson was resentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. That put Peterson into the general prison population. And recently, he was in the news after getting into a fight during a pickleball match in the yard. Tonight, we get the...
Sorry,
Go
what'd you
back.
say?
Pause.
go
Go back
back?
10 seconds. Okay. What is it with murderers? Or they don't age.
Oh,
The
this
first
one
Mark-
doesn't.
First Mark Jensen, now him. Like, they don't age. They look quite, sophisticated in their older years.
He don't go out in the sun. It's the sun that ages you.
True.
population. And recently, he was in the news after getting into a fight during a pickleball match in the yard.
Jody.
Tonight, we get the real story about what happened as we speak with the inmate who took down Scott Peterson, revealing the harsh realities of life in prison and the reason the wife/baby killer was beaten up.
Oh my God.
I'm Vinnie Pollitan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. It's great to have you with us.
Right?
The murder of Lacey Peterson was absolutely heartbreaking. She was about to deliver a child. She was about to bring life into this world and was taken by the lying, cheating killer who she married, Scott Peterson. The guy who really got a deal when he escaped death row and ended up in the general population. But while in the general population, apparently things have not been going perfectly for Scott Peterson. He was playing pickleball, got into a fight, or did he? Well, I spoke with the man who was fighting with Scott Peterson. His name is Charles Miles. He and his girlfriend Tessa Morato spoke to me the other day. I want to play for you that interview so we get the insight into what really happened in the yard and what life is like for Scott Peterson behind bars.
Okay, let's just think about this for a second, right? This dude, this criminal in prison and his girlfriend have managed to get on court TV, right? And be glorified in front of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people. And I've checked it out. This interview has also made it onto TMZ, New York Post, a couple of others as well, right?
As it should.
With their names and photos. What the... Right? Oh my God. Damn straight.
Take a listen.
The call from
Charles Miles.
an incarcerated individual at the Mule Creek State Prison, Ione, California. This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded. You have a prepaid call. You will not be charged for this call. To accept this call, thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Look at the photo of his girlfriend.
Baby, you there?
Yes.
Okay, we're on with Vinny.
Charles, how you doing? This is Vinnie Pollitan from Court TV.
Hey, what's going on, sir? How you doing?
Okay. What happened in that pickleball match with Scott Peterson?
Okay, I was not in a pickleball match.
Yeah.
So it wasn't about pickleball?
Yeah.
Everyone was saying it was about pickleball. Something happened, but you're saying it had nothing to do with pickleball?
Not from my perspective, not at all. I mean, I guess it could be,
Pickle related.
perceived like that because
Scott was playing pickleball, not you.
yeah, he was playing pickleball. I was not. I was actually I was on the yard and I was arguing with the cops about just something to do with my tablet. We got tablets in here now.
Okay.
And
Play the pickle
I was
game.
recently transferred out of here, and basically, they had me messed up in the system, like saying that I had one still assigned or whatever, and I couldn't, even though I had one that was unassigned, I couldn't even get it. I couldn't even get it to work, and basically, I was up there trying to clear that issue up with the police, and there was probably the third, fourth, or fifth time I've been up there trying to resolve this issue. And, kind of like what the cops do here is they just tell you whatever you want to hear, like, oh, yeah, they'll be here tomorrow, or, come back later, we're busy, or just whatever. They just try to say something to get you just to go away. They
Damn
just try to brush you off.
Okay, so
But the way that
you're in the
they
middle.
talk-
So you're in the middle of speaking with the are they the guards or is it actual police officers that are there?
Yeah. No, the COs that are
The COs, okay.
on site, you know what I mean?
So
Yeah,
you're going back and forth with the COs, and Scott
Right.
is playing pickleball. And how close are you to him at the point that you're speaking with the COs?
Okay, that's probably about
intimate.
20, 30 feet away. All right?
Okay.
So
Scott's
once
playing
I started to
pickleball.
realize that,
Did you
I
hide the
wasn't getting
pickle?
anywhere, I was right there with my cellmate. So we just started kind of walking away, and I was explaining to him, what they said, what the cops said, and then all of a sudden my cellie just switched gears and said, hey, there's the baby killer, right? And he was pointing towards the pickleball court, and I could not tell which guy he was talking about because Scott had he had a hat on
Because we had
and he
big
had
back ribs last
sunglasses
time.
on, and he felt he looks really dark, like he's been in the sun a lot or something.
Oh,
So,
you're
I'm
racist.
kind of looking for this light skinned, clean cut dude that that everybody's seen on court,
Right.
from the pictures or whatever, right? He didn't look like that at all. He looked like Mexican dude that's been in the sun a lot.
What
You
did
know what I
he
mean?
say?
Yeah, and he's got a
He looks like somebody
ponytail.
that-
What do you think he said then?
Go back. Let me hear it
Okay.
again.
Okay, so because that
Vinny has a
got
hollowed
edited
look
out.
on his face, by the way.
He has a
oh,
what look?
hollowed out look on his face. Like, what am I doing here? Like, he has to commit to
Like-
the bit.
Yeah,
His
like
bosses
my
want him to do it, but he's just like,
yeah,
I'm
my
better than
soul.
this.
Okay, no. So he just made a racist comment that got edited out.
Someone in prison racist?
Yeah, been in the sun a lot. Something. Okay, I could tell which. Hang on.
sun a lot or something. So I'm kind of looking for this light skinned, clean cut dude that that everybody's seen on court,
Right.
from the pictures or whatever, right? He didn't look like that at all. He looked like Mexican dude that's been in the sun a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's got a
He looks like
ponytail
somebody
now.
that I had-
Doesn't he have a ponytail or a man
Yeah.
bun?
No, he cut that off. He doesn't have that either.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
He
Sleepy.
cut that.
Aw.
Gotcha. So
But-
you're actually looking
but
for
I
him.
thought-
Had you ever met him before? Had your cellmate ever met him before?
No. My son knew who he was,
Prison.
so I kind of just took his word that that's who he was talking about. But the person he was pointing out didn't look anything like him. I used to be a gang member in here. I stepped away from that. But on that, when I was in general population, we don't allow people that harm innocent people like that. You know what I'm saying?
No.
People that kill their wives and stuff like that, or
I'm a classy
child molesters
gang member.
like that. I'm not saying he's a child molester, but he killed an innocent person and he killed and
He's not
resulted in the
that-
death
he's
of,
not that
of an
bad.
unborn child. You know what I mean? I was actually he
Kill
was the
and
first
murder.
person in California to ever be charged with killing someone, a double murder that included the fetus, right?
Right. Well,
That was the first
Lacey,
time.
Right.
Lacey was 9 months pregnant. She was 9 months pregnant. And they even had a name for the
Okay,
baby.
well, it's-
The baby's name was Connor.
Right. There was a second person that was charged in that same capacity, right? Someone did a a gang-related drive-by shooting in the Richmond area, right? And they were the second person to get charged with that. And that person was actually housed with me in Contra Costa County Jail. So that's how I became real familiar with the case, right? So when I started to learn about the case, I learned that the baby's body was actually washed up on the actual beach where I used to go and play as a child, right?
Oh,
right
wow.
near
Did you play
Richmond,
pickleball?
the Richmond Point Pinole shoreline. So like one of my most treasured memories as a child, right? Going down there with my dad and like fishing and going down to the shore, like pick up rocks
For
and
God's sake.
seashells and stuff like that, right?
A pickleball game?
And that's
Right.
like something a treasure that I value. It kind of just hit me because that's where the baby was found, And I've always thought about that. I've always, kind of just, I felt like it just ruined, like, I don't know. As men, we need to be protectors of women and stuff like that. And I just,
Oh, you're wonderful.
this case has always kind of had a profound effect on me. So
you knew about
after the
Scott
event that happened-
beforehand. You knew about him. Now he's there because he was on death row for many, many years. He got himself off of death row.
I actually just had an incident with a child molester, person that killed children and raped them and killed them on another yard where I took off on one of those dudes. You know what I mean? Someone that was released from death row over on a yard.
Wait. So he actually has a history of going around beating up dudes in prison. This dude just said, that I have. Hang on, just go back. He said that he already had gotten into it with another dude who was a child M.
Knew about him. Now he's there because he was on death row for many, many years. He got himself off of death row.
I actually just had an incident with a child molester, person that killed children and raped them and killed them on another yard where I took off on one of those dudes. You know what I mean? Someone that was released from death row
This
over
is
on
his
a yard.
thing.
Wow. Okay, so what happens now? So now you're walking with your cellie. You guys are talking about it. He's identifying Scott. What happens next?
So what's really interesting about this is actually the night before, is I was alone and walking back from Pearline. I felt the need to pray about to God about many wrongs that I have done, and that I have always had good intentions, whether it was to feed myself or my family, or avenge terrible things done to children by men in here who have committed some of the worst crimes imaginable. So much that it hurts my heart and soul when I'm around or near them.
Christ.
So many fake people in here talk about this and that, saying, oh, someone should do something about this or that, but hardly anyone ever does. I recently got into a lot of trouble beating up child molesters and their kind on other yards, prisons, etc. I know I have to stay out of trouble in order to get out of here.
Right.
I've been in the hole. I've lost property. I've lost privileges, money, and so many struggles lately. But through the grace of God, He has brought me a beautiful and honest, God-fearing woman in my life, and she deserves so much better. And I would do anything to show her that I am a man who would do anything to protect her and her two beautiful children, both little girls. And I pray to God to give me a sign and show me the way. Fast forward, the next day, I had initially went to yard to talk to the sergeant about my tablet, which every inmate is allowed to have.
Right.
Mine was
So
perfectly fine.
here's what I'm trying to understand, Charles. The night before, you're having these thoughts. The next day now, you see Scott Peterson. Is Scott Peterson the sign that you thought was being sent to you, seeing him on that pickleball court?
Well, look.
He didn't know it was God at that point. He did his cellie yelled, "It's the baby killer," but he did not. It didn't click in his head. That's Scott Peterson. He just thought it was a random dude because of the way he looked.
Okay.
So when I turned around, because I was looking back.
Wait. I have so many questions. How did he meet her? Like, what?
SingleInmatesMeet.com.
Can we look him up? Like, how long has he been in there, and when did he meet her?
Did anyone get his name?
Yeah. His name is hang on.
Piccolo?
Like with the cops, like
Peterson.
Pickleball court?
Well, look.
The next.
Charles Miles.
Every inmate is
Got
it the way he looked.
Okay.
Charles Miles. Yeah. Yeah, I don't get it. Like, okay, so he's met this woman. They're clearly like that. If that's a photo of them together, like they've been together, right? I don't know how long he's been in there for, but he's done for murder. Like, he's in there for murder. He's got 58 years, right? So I'm just like, choices, lady. she can fix him. So he beat up a random dude and now is using the fact that that dude was a child offer as justification. Not just one random dude, there's been several. He said in another pen he's gotten into it with several others. I don't know, man. I don't know.
So when I turned around, because I was looking back and forth like with the cops, like I was telling my cellie about the issue. Okay, all I did was I turned around when my cellie said that, and I literally seen this guy running towards us with the paddle in his hand, right? And he was aggressively running towards us, and it looked like he was just gonna run right into me. I said, "Hey, stop! Excuse me," you know what I mean? And he's like, "Hey, I'm getting the ball or whatever," and I said, "Stop."
Sorry, yeah.
Well, it's funny you mentioned parole date.
Really?
Yeah. So, according to Charles Robert Miles at County Monterey, California, Contra Costa, Mule Creek State Prison, it looks to be the one Scott Peterson is at. His parole eligible date is December of 31.
This year?
No, 2031, sorry.
2031, right?
But he's got December of 2026. He's got a tentative date for consultation with incarcerated person. So he's going
to been in?
Admission date, it says, is March 15th of 2012.
How did he meet this chick? I mean, sure it doesn't say it on his thing there, but I just want to know when and how he met this chick. Like, what? And where's that photo taken that he's actually touching her like that? This blows my mind. I can't. Sorry. And anyway, sorry to pause it in the middle of him explaining what happened. I just go back a second.
And he was aggressively running towards us. All I did was I turned around when my cellie said that, and I literally seen this guy running towards us with the paddle in his hand, right? And he was aggressively running towards us, and it looked like he was just gonna run right into me. I said, "Hey, stop! Excuse me," you know what I mean? And he's like, "Hey, I'm getting the ball or whatever," and I said, "Stop!" He did not stop. He tried to just literally run right through me or something to go get the ball, and at which time I just went in attack mode. I just started swinging at him, and that's how it started.
So at that point, did you know this was the guy that your cellie was pointing at? So did you suspect that it may have been Scott at that moment?
Yes, I had a feeling it could be, but I didn't know for sure. So I did not know for sure until we were on the ground cuffed when this all finished. But I mean, this went on for a while. Like I beat the hell out of him. Like I beat him down to the ground. Like
did he fight back at all?
Hit me. Yeah, like he was trying to like wrestle me. He actually tried to
beat
throw me on
him
the
down
ground.
to the ground.
So like I had to, we were struggling on the ground. Like it was either like him getting on top of me or me getting on top of him.
It was very
so
sensual.
I had to get on top of him. Somehow I was able to overpower him. I got on top of him, and I just started punching him out, kind of like a UFC fight, like where they're on top of the guy. You know what I mean? Like pounded on top of him.
Was he trying to get you with the paddle? Was he trying to hit you with the paddle?
I don't know what the hell happened to the paddle. Like when I think when I first punched him, I don't know what happened to the paddle. I think he may have dropped it or something. I don't know if I got hit with it. I don't know what happened. To be honest, like it's kind of like a blur. When I went into attack mode, I tend to just kind of like, it's like fighting for my life type thing,
Yeah. So who made the first contact with who? Did he run into you
first? He made the first contact with me. He ran into me. He didn't stop. He didn't say excuse me. He just tried to bump into me and then kind of like go around me but I told him to stop, wait up. Like he said he was getting the ball. I told him, hey man, I'll get the ball for you or something. Like you're not just go through my personal space like that. And when he just proceeded to just kind of like aggressively just continue doing whatever he wanted to do, that's when I decided to launch my attack.
So what's the reaction? What's your cellmate doing at that moment, and the rest of the guys that are there? I mean, what are they doing while you and Scott are on the ground?
Okay, the guys that okay, there was a guy that was with Scott Peterson, and the entire time this guy was talking, this guy was saying, talking about he was going to get in it, that he was going to beat my ass. He just kept talking, saying that, you know, he even encouraged the police to hit me with the baton. The police hit me with the baton twice, and he was telling them to hit me again and again. I heard my cellmate saying something like, you know, fool, don't worry about him. Like, if something happens, you know, like, basically, like, my cellie made it. I could hear my cellie in the background, like, letting it be known, like, you know, like it's one-on-one, you know?
And so no one else is getting involved in the fight. It's just you and Scott Peterson on the ground. How does it end?
That's so sexual.
It ends with me on top of him punching him out.
Cuddling.
He had grabbed my hand and he had bit me. So I got a big-ass bite wound, like, on my thumb. It's like a jagged wound that, like, it bled for days and days. Like, there's no mention of my injuries. My girlfriend, she has the report right there. If you want to read verbatim the report, babe, you can do that at any time he asks or whatever.
Yeah, I can read it.
No one cares.
Yeah, read the report. This is the official report.
Gotcha.
We're gonna hear.
Okay, circumstances of violation. On Sunday, March 9th,
No one asked
2025 at approximately
Testa Morado.
14:48 hours, while assigned as Facility B Program Sergeant, I heard via my institutional radio code 1 Facility B for a 1 versus 1 fight on the yard. After a subsequent review of the audio video surveillance system, it was observed that Miles AL0502 committed the act of battery on Peterson. It was observed via AVSS Miles attacked Peterson on Facility B yard by the pickleball court by striking Peterson in the upper face and torso area, utilizing his fist. Responding staff arrived on scene and gave orders to get down, which Miles failed to comply. As a result, chemical agents were deployed, which did not have the desired effect, as Miles continued to attack Peterson by punching him with his fist. Officer A. Maston utilized a handheld baton strike, which stopped Miles' attack and quelled the incident. Inmate Miles and Peterson were secured in handcuffs and assisted to a seated position. Medical arrived on scene and conducted a medical evaluation of Peterson and Miles to document any injuries. Upon completion of the CDCR, both inmates were escorted to Facility B decontamination area and afforded the opportunity to decontaminate. Upon completion, Miles and Peterson were escorted to the Facility B program office holding cell area without further incident. The medical form 7219 report of injury depicted Peterson had injuries to his face, head, upper torso, and rear upper torso consistent with being the victim of an attack. And that's it.
Okay.
All right. Wait till
there's
you hear
more.
what happens
There's
after the
more.
fight. There's more to this story. Plus, we'll get reaction from our think tank as they listen along with
Think
me.
tank.
Plus, coming up next hour.
Okay.
Tonight
All
on
right.
Vinnie Pollitan investigates
So,
the
guys.
killer girl next week. Double murderer was on death row, now in general population.
So, what's coming up is they make up, right? So there's makeup sex.
Yes.
Not kidding, right? I'm not kidding. Well, but the sex part, but the making up part.
Got beaten up while he was playing pickleball by someone who wasn't playing pickleball. His name is Charles Miles. His girlfriend's name is Tessa Morado. And I spoke to them on the phone about what happened. Let's pick it up. We just heard about the fight. Now you're going to hear about what happens after the fight.
So what happened? Have you seen him since? Are you separated? Are you kept away from one another? How is that being handled?
Yeah, he was placed, they were placed together right after the fight, I guess in cages, like a little bit apart from each other. So ask him about that.
Yeah.
Because they had a long conversation. I think they talked for like 2 hours or something.
Oh, then he talked to him?
Yeah, Charles talked to him for like 2 hours.
Wow. So afterwards, you guys are now handcuffed and taken away, you're placed in cells, and my understanding is you're next to one another inside these cells?
Set up some candles.
Right, we're a couple of cells
Roses.
away, but there's probably about 2 cages in between us, but nobody was in them. So yeah, we were the only 2 people that were in the hallway.
Did you talk to
They
him?
got a hallway where they put I talked to him for hours. We were in the cages probably from what time does it say that incident happened, babe?
14:48 was the violation time.
Okay, so that's 2:48. So we were in the cage at least 2 hours together.
Wow. So
over
in those 2 hours,
Yeah.
what do you talk to Scott Peterson about for 2 hours after beating him up?
So basically, I let him know about the issue that I had with the police. I told him that I didn't really know if it was him or not. I told him that I've been struggling with these issues about I've had problems with the dealing with people of his like and kind. I told him, look, that I'm trying to be a better person, and that
What happened?
about it. I told him that, look, man.
Oh, maybe some
also that
swearing. Hey, Sean, people. How are you? Good to see ya. See, I don't think Sean actually did a proper redirect. I think he just... Sean's a bit of a boomer, but I do love him. So yeah, I think he put the link in chat and said everyone go over to Hella, which is lovely too. I appreciate that. Sandwich raid. Hi guys, good to see you. All right, so just to let you know, it popped up, did it? Did it pop up? It didn't pop up for me. Oh, that's nice. Oh, he actually did it. That's sweet.
Oh, it did for me now. It didn't at first.
Did it?
I had to refresh.
Oh wow. See, he's not as much of a boomer as I thought. Okay, so what we're doing is we're watching Vinnie Pollitan simping over the prisoner who beat to the ground Scott Peterson. Yeah, Scott Peterson in prison. If you don't remember Scott Peterson, the guy who brutally, apparently, murdered his wife Lacey Peterson and their unborn child Connor back in 2004 in California.
Pickleball aficionado.
Yeah, and in prison he is in general population now. He did get the death penalty, but that got reduced to life without parole in 2021. And yeah, so anyway, he's been beaten up, which is big news. And so guess what Vinnie Pollitan does? He gets the guy who beat him up on the phone and makes him into a big star, right? Because you know what? Gang murderers aren't as bad as wife and unborn child murderers. So there you go. We're up to the part now where we're talking to the guy about how he and Scott Peterson were in adjacent cells afterwards and were making up. Right? Why not? Yeah. Who's a boomer now? I'll stop it, Mads. He did a proper raid. Credit to Bifrons who said raid Hella. That's nice. Thank you, Bifrons. Very sweet of you. All right, let's keep going.
That I seen him running up on me with what I thought was a weapon, and just hearing that he was a baby killer and all that, it just triggered like a primal urge to, want to defend myself and my girl and just women in general.
Sure. What did he say? What was his response?
He tried to convince me that he didn't do it, and I told him that I knew the evidence. I knew the evidence that they used to convict him. Right, was kind of cheesy. Right, like they try to say that they picked up on a dog scent and all that. Like the dog picked up the scent at the pier, basically, and that was pretty much kind of like the only evidence that they actually had.
Well, they also had his wife's hair was in his boat. And he told everyone.
I didn't know all that.
Yeah, his alibi was being in San Francisco Bay. He said he went fishing on Christmas Eve on San Francisco Bay, which is nowhere near where he was living. He was living out in Modesto. Why would you go all the way to San Francisco Bay in a little tiny boat to go fishing? And then exactly where he said he went fishing is where, Lacey and Connor were found. He put himself at the scene of the crime.
One thing that I noticed, right, was that he's really quick to just agree with anything you say, right? He's kind of like, he's basically like a manipulator. Like he'll just, kind of like go along with what you're saying. You know, he said that he was innocent. That, you know, he said that he was looking forward to having a child and stuff like that. And he pretty much tried to minimize like what he did or what, you know, what was going on at the time. He just said that you know, he was a dick, that he cheated on his wife, and he told me that basically that the family believes him now, and you know, like he's got this chance to go on with the Innocence Project and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't know that Lacey's family was actually supporting me.
Here we go.
No, Lacey's family is not supporting him. No.
Is that a lie? Okay, so that was a lie.
I'll tell you what. If they were supporting him, I think I would have heard of it. I mean, every time he comes up, I've heard from his family for sure. Like his family is supporting him. I have not heard anyone from Lacey's side come out and say free Scott Peterson. And during the trial, I mean, it was very clear to
look. What? Okay, Vinny, do you think maybe this dude's lying?
Yeah.
Right? Why are you just believing what this dude's saying? Like, he's some fucking model citizen. You can't trust
people in prison. I can't see this world coming to.
Please.
To all of us how they felt about this. I mean, very, very clear.
Yeah.
So I think that could potentially be some fast talking. I haven't spoken to the family in years, so I don't know. I haven't heard firsthand, but that would be huge news if Lacey Peterson's family came out and said, "We free Scott Peterson." I have not heard that. That's all I can tell you is I haven't heard that. I haven't spoken to them.
Right.
But that's interesting that he's saying that Lacey's family is supporting his freedom at this moment. That's interesting. So are you both in a place now where you will see each other on a daily basis?
Oh, baby, yes.
Yes, we actually, well, the next day, you know, I told him, like, look, man, you know, he's got all the money in the world in here, so people are willing to do anything for money. So I realized, you know, like, the predicament I'm in. He could easily just pay a bunch of inmates to try to get on me.
Right.
So,
Wait. You know, why does he have all the money in the world in there?
Probably does. People send him money.
Oh, okay.
You can only spend so much at a time. Maybe. I don't know.
It's interesting. I mean, I know he's got supporters, but that's interesting. Barton Bella, hey, Hella, have you listened to the Time Suck podcast on Scott's case? I think he's guilty, but he lays out a lot that could make me doubt. I've done a lot of research into this. I haven't looked at that podcast, but I've done a lot of research into this. Last year, I did a series called Scott Peterson is Innocent, Changed My Mind. And that title may have been a little bit to ruffle people's feathers, but the reason I called it that was because the reason I called it that was because he's putting forth he's trying to get an appeal. He's trying to get a new trial, and if there is a new trial, there needs to be some jurors out there who are willing to be impartial, who are willing to go, well, he's innocent. There needs to be people who are willing to have the presumption of innocence. Now, me being an Australian and not having any familiarity with the case to start off with, I have the presumption of innocence for him. So I was willing to start from the beginning and go, okay, he's innocent, show me the evidence. And so I started researching the evidence. So that was what my series was about, researching from the beginning. And so starting with the presumption of innocence, I started looking at the evidence, and it looked pretty sketchy to me. And I did look at the things that made people really doubt him. Like, the main things people started to come at me with, which was like, oh yeah, he lied about where he was going. He said he was playing golf, then he was going to be going fishing, for example. It's like, well, he's kind of a little bit of an Alex Murdoch kind of character. He lies a lot.
Yeah.
He's a bit stupid, really. And he was having an affair. Okay, dudes have affairs. He's a dickhead, right? And his body language is smarmy and all that kind of thing. but it's not illegal to be an asshole. It doesn't make you a murderer. So give me more. And the more that came out, the more it just looked like, come on, there was actually there's actually a whole other series of facts that weren't put forth at trial or weren't explored properly. And that's to do with this burglary across the road. And I don't know if he's guilty or not. I really don't. But it does bother me the way the trial played out, especially the way the media got involved. So I don't know. I think he actually probably does deserve a new trial. And I'd love to see it.
Yeah.
But people are very emotionally invested in his guilt. Very emotionally invested in his guilt. Like, I get a lot of people saying, I remember that, and he's guilty because I know somebody who had a baby at the time, and that doesn't fly with me. Sorry. Yeah. Hella, is it true Scott is ethnically Jewish? Mavka?
Mavka.
Yeah, also because Lacey was preggers, so extra pitchfork.
Yeah.
People, yeah, and it was, I mean, it's such a sad case, like it really is. But him being a narcissist doesn't make him guilty, right? Some of us watched the trial. How did you watch the trial of Jim Cox? It wasn't televised. Did you actually go to it? Because I have an issue with people who say they watched the trial. How?
Yeah, you just get biased media coverage.
Yeah, because, I mean, unless you actually went to the courthouse every day for 3 months, actually 5 months, it was a 5-month trial. You just heard the media reports, and they were extremely biased. So, yeah, so many people said they watched the trial.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not possible. Okay, let's keep going.
I kind of figured, yeah, and my girlfriend, this is one of the closest prisons to my girlfriend, and she comes to visit me. She lives about an hour and 10 minutes away. So I just don't want to lose that opportunity to visit with my girlfriend. So I figured the best thing that I could do is kind of just squash the issue and let them know that there's no big deal. So I told them, when we come out the cages, look, we're just going to shake hands, whatever, and we'll just, we'll be good, So we signed the chrono to be on the yard together. And I actually went to the education that he works in. He works in the educational building. I got into one of the educational classes up there, so I see him about once a week, and we don't have no problem.
Okay, well, Charles, that's the right approach to all this, right? You don't want to penalize your life because of what someone else did in their life. You know what I mean? So I think you're making the right choices now.
Okay,
to,
now
just be as
Great
peaceful as
therapist, Vinnie,
possible.
here.
Stay out of trouble, and so you can.
So now Vinny's going to be a camp counselor to this guy, right? So Vinny is all like, we're besties now. And Vinny is such a guilter. Vinny is just like, murderers, they're evil. But look at how lovely he's being. He's giving him a scoop.
Work through your time. How much time do you have left inside?
Well, originally I had a 68 to life sentence for gang-related murder. The guy had a gun on him. I had a jury that deliberated for 3.5 days on this case, but I was subsequently found guilty. And I didn't really think I ever had a chance to go home until recently, when they started doing youth parole, which lowers pretty much crimes of anybody that committed it under 25 to under the age of 25. Basically, everybody has a 25 to life sentence. So you start eligibility after 20 years. You do 80% of your sentence. So that kind of like.
So how much time have you served so far?
I've already done 18 years. So
okay.
I'll be
all right. So
in 2 years.
So don't do what you did to Scott Peterson to anyone else. Right?
That might be asking too much.
Then you're going to get a second chance. You have an opportunity for a second chance. So, if you have to defend yourself, you have to defend yourself. But don't don't get yourself into any sort of mess because of things that other people have done. You know what I mean? To me, you shouldn't penalize yourself for that. You know what I mean?
Sake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done. Look, I'm done with the
That's good.
jailhouse vigilante thing or whatever.
You're done with it now.
Gloves, I'm trying.
How about this? Have you thought about picking up a pickleball racket? Is that one step too far,
Maybe
Charles?
I'll pick it up. Yeah, I think that's a little close, a little too far at the moment. But
Yeah.
I don't, maybe you and Scott could play doubles together because I play pickleball all the time. Doubles is fun.
Yeah,
Maybe
I see Scott out all the time. I think he actually told me that if I wanted to go out there or something like that.
He was a good athlete in college. He was a college athlete. Is he still athletic? I know he's not a good fighter.
I don't really know.
Have you seen a grown
Yeah,
man
no, he
naked?
lost that.
He lost the fight.
But hey, I will say this. He's pretty damn strong.
You ever
And like
seen a grown man naked?
He's like 50. I think he's like 52, and I'm going to be 40 years old this year. I mean, he's pretty strong.
Okay.
Like, he tried to throw me down, and like I said, I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah. Well, Charles, anything else that I didn't ask you about that you want to let me know?
Don't give him that opening.
Just that I love my girl. I love and her 2 kids, and I want to be a better man for them.
And I think that was the sign, right? This thing happened with Scott Peterson.
Yeah.
You get out of it relatively unscathed. So now you have an opportunity to do everything you can. And when you have the opportunity to speak to the parole board, you can tell them a good story. You can tell them, the good things that you're doing, how you're staying out of trouble, how you have seen the light, how your focus has changed, your values have changed.
Yeah, for sure, most definitely.
Yeah, Tessa, is there anything that we haven't gone over? You think that's important here?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything except for the fact of really driving it home that Charles believes in his heart that this is God's plan. The prayer the night before where he had prayed.
I was walking through the same area.
The same exact spot where the incident happened. He felt like this was God telling him, like, this, you were meant to be in this moment at this time for this reason. And that was to change, to change him. And also what he felt was just bringing justice, because he said he didn't regret the attack. He felt like he was really bringing justice, but
especially after the conversation, there's just something slimy about the way he was talking. I just felt like he was lying and the whole time.
Sure.
Yeah, but regardless, Charles has learned a lot through this, a lot.
Oh, has he?
Well,
I learned a lot about myself and just everything else.
Please do think
well,
so,
Charles,
lady.
good luck to you and Tessa, and I hope everything works out. And when it's time to go before a parole board, that you can tell them how you've turned everything around. I think that's promising. I think that's what you have to do.
Tell him
continue to grow and move forward.
Never hear that.
This still isn't over because, the obviously the write-up and I'm charged with a battery and stuff like that. Even though what I perceived was him running up on me, they're giving me a battery. Even though he was the one that ran into me, they're saying that
you mounted him,
basically
sir.
making it seem like I went after him and attacked him, even though he ran right into me.
You mounted him. You got on.
Sounds like some mixed signals.
I guess. Yeah. We'll see how it plays out, but
sir.
I might have to suffer for a little while, like loss of privileges, canteen packages, all that kind of stuff, phone, tablet, like the ability of what I'm doing right now. I won't be able to do that for an extended period of time.
Well, and the other thing you can let them know is that you and Scott had a conversation and everything is good now, and it was
everything's fine.
Some level of a miscommunication.
They got cameras all over this place. They wouldn't even let, one thing about this prison, I mean, they got to protect, certain inmates and stuff like that. They know I'm in the education with them, so they know what's going on.
Right.
I wouldn't be here. Pretty much I wouldn't be here. If Scott didn't want me here or he didn't feel safe, I wouldn't be here. What? He could have easily said that he didn't want me here or something like that, and I'm pretty sure they would have accommodated that. It's one of the only prisons they can house them at. They can house me anywhere.
Yeah, well, he was on death row, and he got off of death row, so he
Because
caught a
of
break
juror
there.
misconduct.
And now he's trying to catch a bigger
Vinny.
break by getting out.
I don't know if he got out with the death row kickouts or if he got out prior to that. I think he might have got his sentence reduced.
Right. Yeah, I think it was reduced to life without parole, but he's still trying to get out.
Okay.
But we'll see. So, Charles, good luck to you. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And Tessa, thank you as well.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, man.
All right.
All right, you have a blessed one, man.
You too.
You have a blessed one, too. Sir.
Let's bring in the think tank joining us tonight.
Okay,
Criminal
guys,
defense attorney, former prosecutor Al Wunsch
I want to
III,
show you this first.
criminal
bit of the
defense
think
attorney
tank.
Darnell
It's funny.
Crossland, and family law attorney Jennifer Brandt. Got a good insight into life for Scott Peterson. He's known, Al, as the baby killer. Do you think this will be the only run-in he has?
Well, Vin, it's very interesting to
guy-
point out that Charles Manson, was once doused with flammable liquid, set ablaze by his cellmate during an argument about the Bible. Okay, so
guy
and he
was
talked
freaking
about
weird.
this religious thing he had with the God put him here and everything else. So they had an argument about the Bible. So what passage do you think was going on with the discussion that provoked someone to throw flammable liquid and set someone ablaze?
Genesis.
You know what I mean? Like,
Okay, all right. This dude, I think, was watching a completely different interview or something, or is on something because he's about to get called out by someone else in the think tank. This dude's fucking all over the show, and I just wanted to show you this part. Hang on.
this is the most bizarre conversation that I've ever seen. Was it, hey, it was Matthew 6 and then put the guy on fire? I mean, this guy's talking about that there was a religious experience for him to be put into a position to get into a pickleball fight with an individual.
Well, it wasn't a pickleball fight. Scott was playing pickleball. Charles was not playing pickleball. The ball goes rolling by, and I think Scott's trying to get it. Darnell, is this an insight into what life is like behind bars for some of these folks, and for someone like Scott Peterson that is now known as a baby killer?
First, what show was Al responding to? And secondly, does
He's dressed like Gilligan at Gilligan's Island. He's doing the Gilligan's Island reboot, for God's sakes. Look at that outfit he's wearing there. Just
Wait,
right
does
now
Al
you hear a tale.
Does Al
Tell about Darnell.
handle inmate law? Because they probably need him for the next parole
Banished on
hearing.
an island
In terms
and can't
of
get back. Oh,
Al,
well.
behave yourself. You're unraveling here. This is prime time. So listen. In terms of life behind bars, there's no logic
Okay.
to it.
This is stupid
And
now.
these people pick.
I just wanted to watch the red shirt dude. Yeah, Urkel, like, totally rip apart the weirdo Charles Manson reference dude. My God, the think tank is just, the whole idea of the think tank is just so stupid, but it's just a way of padding segments out for longer than is necessary. I think the whole idea of having a murderer who just beat someone up on for an interview to glorify them is ridiculous. But then, even more so, for then at the end of it to continue to play the interview and have Vinny counsel him about how to get parole.
Yeah.
That part should have been
That was
cut
sweet.
at least.
I thought it was sweet.
Oh, you thought it was sweet?
Yeah, a little fatherly advice. I mean, from an older
Fatherly
gentleman.
advice.
And, he's got a couple different people there to mentor him, Vinny and Scott and
The Spurk tank?
stuff.
Andy. Was it past the pickle? Hide the pickle. It turned into hide the pickle later.
Rawr.
This is ridiculous. Actually, some people on Twitter have responded with similar kind of comments. Usually people are all just like, oh, I love you, Vinny. Vinny, you're great. But in this instance, not so much. Oh, okay, there's a couple of comments. Was anyone else screaming, "Get to the point" during the phone call with the inmate, or was it just me? Yeah. But there's a lot of people who are just like, "Oh, I'm just glad he got beat up."
Of course.
Okay, but just wait now. There's going to be a bunch of other like beating up famous killers so that they can get on court TV. Right?
Yeah.
Next time someone gets beaten up, like I'm surprised the guy who stabbed Larry Nassar didn't get an interview.
Or a parade, but that's just me.
Or a parade. Yeah, right?
I mean, it's one of the few times I won't I won't cry about it.
Of course no one's crying about it, but you also don't give them an interview, right?
Yeah,
it's two different things. Yeah. So people aren't like unhappy that he got stabbed, sure, but you also don't get the person on and glorify them. Right? It's two different things. Yeah. I'm amazed the prison allowed it. I'm really amazed the prison allowed it.
No, I don't think they did. I think he's going to get in trouble for this. Because it was a call between inmate and not even baby mama. And then she did the three-way with Vinnie.
That's right, she did too.
Chili got in trouble for that. Because you're allowed to talk to somebody at a certain number, the person knows who you're talking to. But like if you do an interview and they don't know about it, you get in big trouble for that.
That's actually true. I wonder.
So yeah, this probably isn't going to do wonders for his upcoming parole hearing end of next year.
Yeah, I wonder. That's actually.
Oh yeah, an SBF. Point. Thank you, Justin. Yeah, I was trying to think of the most recent one. Sam Bankman-Fried.
Prison knew.
I'm sure they know now.
Court TV couldn't give a shit what happens to him.
No, they don't care. They got the story.
Nah. Oh yeah, and they sold it. They sold it to it's a three-way. Yeah, Harry Potter's beard. Yeah, they sold it to New York Post, TMZ. I don't know. I searched it up and I saw it on a bunch of other ones, and they didn't even credit Court TV with it.
Okay, but they probably just bought it then.
They would have just bought it. Yeah, they didn't credit Court TV because they didn't say it was from Vinnie Pollitan, asked this or that, but they have the exact answers that the guy gave. So yeah, they would have bought it. Just one question here I want to answer. Annette Sunblad says, would like to know very much what Heller thinks about Rex Heuermann. Not very much. He's pled not guilty, so I'm going to give him a little bit of the benefit of the doubt, but I think he's pretty screwed.
Oh yeah.
This seems to be a fair bit of physical evidence against him.
Very much so.
Physical evidence, and not just one little bit, like a fair bit.
Yeah, so. There seems to be a lot of DNA. The only odd thing is I remember watching a press conference and the DNA values they were giving was really high. Like 1 in septillion or like these, like normally you think like 1 in a million or 1 in a billion chance the DNA is this person, but it was even higher than that. So I had never seen values that high, but everything I've seen, it looks like, yeah, he's a bad boy.
Well, there's that, but also the other thing that interests me is his brother is a bit shady. So, and sometimes with DNA, it can get mixed up between siblings. So I'm a little concerned about the brother. His brother has a big property as well. I think it's been searched. So I'm just not sure whether his brother and him might be in on it together, or it may, if they have the wrong guy, the right guy might be the brother. But I haven't looked into it enough. So I don't know why I don't know why he's pleading not guilty. Maybe there's a good legal reason for that, and his lawyers are advising that until more comes out. Maybe it's about being able to suppress some things because some search warrants weren't done correctly. There's all sorts of things. But I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt for now, as I always will. But it doesn't look good for him. Not looking good. Yeah, not about to throw our innocence party for Ray Tillman. Yeah. All right, guys, we're going to rate Criminality. She's live now, doing Idaho 4. And I believe later that our friend Angie's going to stream. Yay! Because she hasn't streamed in quite a while. So we'll definitely watch her later. For sure. Yeah. One of the guys that lives a street over and did an interview has the same weird name as one of the Atlantic 4. Weird German name. Cool. All right. Thanks, guys, for being here. That was fun. Not sure what I'm doing tomorrow. I may have a guest on to do more Idaho 4 stuff. We will see, but I will confirm yet. Anyway, I shall leave you with that thought. And free Scott Peterson. Okay.
Yes.
We'll see.
Her name was Ella. She was an Aussie. She was a fake lawyer from the future. She got on YouTube and made some live streams. Her co-host is Dolly and she dances sometimes. The words are always so loud and because she's an 803. To the attention, excited utterance. Her cat is